It's race weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. In the last episode, we rode this Triumph Thruxton along with the Bonneville from New Orleans to Birmingham, Alabama for the Barber Vintage Festival.
And now I'm gonna race this Thruxton in ARRMA's Trans Atlantic Challenge.
And you're gonna win.
I'm gonna win?
You're gonna try.
I'm gonna win.
This Triumph started life as a street bike like this Thruxton, but it took a lot of go-fast parts to turn it into a race machine.
Yes, indeed. And a lot of these mods we're familiar with. Sticky Avon AM22 tires, a British Customs race exhaust, custom levers, number plates, some custom paint, obviously.
That matches your leathers.
That matches my leathers, which is a nice touch, I have to say.
It's also got a fork kit and remote reservoir adjustable shocks to help with handling, and rear sets to help with rider position and ground clearance.
And one of the things we noticed in the last episode when we rode the Thruxton and Bonneville from New Orleans was that the stock Thruxton suspension is pretty soft. So hopefully this makes a difference.
Yep. And I think it's really cool that ARRMA has a class just for the Thruxton so people can come out and compete on their cafe racers.
Agreed, that is cool. Well, personally, I'm sick of talking about it and I'm ready to do it.
The Barber Vintage Festival is the biggest classic bike event in America. Tens of thousands of people come from all over the country and all over the world to race, spectate, and participate in a variety of activities, from exploring the world-famous Barber Museum to watching trials riding demos and stunt shows. We came to compete in the races, namely the Thruxton Cup. ARRMA is a historic racing series for classic bikes, but they've got a class for the Triumph Thruxton, a modern motorcycle that's designed to emulate the Triumphs of the past. Zack doesn't have a Thruxton racer of his own, but he's able to borrow a fully prepped bike from Thruxton Cup regular Paul Canali.
Okay, here we go. Barber Motorsports Park. I'm very much learning my way around. This museum corner, there's a big beautiful museum right there. It's incredible. Fast left right, which is already my favorite turn on the track. Another left right, and this right is totally blind. Can't see, can't see, can't see, can't see. Now I can see the track. I'm behind a two-stroke right now. That's one of my favorite things about vintage racing, is you get to smell the two-strokes. They smell magical. This guy doesn't know why I'm chasing him. I'm chasing him because he smells good.
What's up, man? Woo. So, modern classic to retro racer, what do you think?
Modern classic. Yeah, well,
Does it translate well?
that's a good way to put it, modern classic, because in a lot of ways, the bike feels totally modern, you know? Like it works well. I mean, when you ride it, it doesn't feel like a vintage bike.
Okay.
But at the same time, there are a lot of things that are a lot like a vintage bike, like right side up forks that chatter like crazy. But the front end is starting to chatter. Just like vintage bikes do. Vintage bikes always chatter the front end because they got skinny little forks. It's also real rear heavy, just like an old bike, you know?
Yep.
Like, so when you're coming out of a corner, like, and you are on the throttle and it loads the rear,
Just runs
there's
wide.
nothing you can do. Like,
Yeah.
whew. Big old slide. Big old slide. It just slides and like you can't get forward enough, you know?
Are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a cool bike to learn the track on because it's not too fast. I'm not totally overwhelmed, you know? Hopefully I'll just get faster and faster and, you know, not embarrass myself for the magazine.
Zack got to turn some laps, familiarizing himself with the track and the bike, and now we've got some time to kill before the afternoon's races. Thankfully, there's no shortage of things to do at the Barber Vintage Festival.
And we don't want anybody out here to miss this show, folks.
The Wall of Death was a hugely popular carnival sideshow back in the day, but there are only a few of these incredible spectacles still around. Barber is one of the few places you can still view this all-American attraction, and it'll totally blow your mind. No helmets, no gear, riding ancient bikes on a vertical wall, with no hands. These guys are legitimately nuts. The Globe of Death is even crazier. 3 riders rip around a rattling, flexing mesh sphere, orbiting an unprotected showgirl like electrons around a nucleus. It'll make your palms sweat just watching it. There's so much going on at Barber that you can literally be entertained for days, but we had a race to prepare for. With no points in the class, Zack was gridded at the back of the pack, but he was in good company. The Thruxton Cup tends to attract wildcard entries, and sure enough, the starting roster had some notable names, such as Daytona 200 winner Jason DeSalvo and longtime Motorcycles Magazine test rider Thad Wolf. With competition like this, Zack is going to need to give it everything he's got to finish on the podium.
Yeah, apparently I haven't forgotten how to start a motorcycle because I just shot past the first 2 rows of guys, no problem, and there was a little bit of a hole in the outside, and I went for it, and I was able to get outside of everyone in turn 1, and I passed everyone before turn 2 except a friend of the magazine, Thad Wolf. First lap was good. I passed that a couple turns into the race, and I led part of the lap, and at one point a bike came by me, and I thought it was Thad, but it was actually AMA Pro Jason DeSalvo, at which point I realized that I was expecting that to happen and I wasn't going to try and keep up with him. So I just followed him for as long as I could and tried to see some of his lines and then let him go. The handling problems I was having in practice were mostly front end chatter and rear end traction exiting corners, and I definitely struggled with that in the race also. The front end chatter is just something that you have to deal with vintage style bikes. And the rear traction, I think, was partly because the tire was cooked, as we learned after the race, and partly that the suspension was set up a little bit off. So I thought that Thad was going to be the only one I had to worry about for the rest of the race, but partway through I got passed by another guy on a Thruxton, and the way he passed me was around the outside of the second to last corner, and I thought for sure that I was in trouble and he was just going to run away from me because an outside pass means that you're riding a lot better than the other person. But I was able to get good drive and passed him down the front straightaway, and when he passed me the second time, I passed him on the outside of turn 1, so yeah, we had a good little battle. I had a little bit better drive and a little bit more power than he did, but I was able to fight him off and get second place. I mean, I'm super happy with where I finished. Finishing second place to Jason DeSalvo, who's the current AMA Pro, was best case scenario for the weekend, honestly. I was expecting top 5 at best, so to be second was awesome. Well, I didn't win, but I think we can build this whole weekend a success.
Yeah, man, coming in second place to an AMA Pro who calls Barber his home track is nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, I usually don't like finishing second, but in this case, I'll make an exception. And even though this is all I have to show for it, I had a great time with this whole Triumph journey, and I'm looking forward to coming back next year.
Absolutely. So make sure you check back in 2 weeks to see what kind of trouble we get in next time.